Alright, hello and welcome to my champion ground slam build guide. It is a Warcry scaling, Impale scaling ground slam build that makes use of champions, improved Impales, Fortify effect, and free Reservation of Dread banner. You probably want to go with the damage, then the Fortify, then the Dread banner last in terms of ascendancies. The build uses all rear gear, apart from a Lion's Roar and two unique Jaws, Rapid Expansion, to increase the AoE of Ground Slam, and Lord of Steel, which basically you socket Lancing Steel or any steel skill, and you get access to Call of Steel, which helps with clear. Basically pulls out the impales that you've put onto dead or alive enemies and just as AoE around that. Great for clearing mobs and adding a bit of damage after you've impaled something. Aside from that, we don't use any cluster jewels. The tree's pretty normal for what a Warcry build looks like. In terms of gear, so the helmet is a penitent mask, which gives you 25% increased fortify effect. Ideally, you'd want a Crusader one with the 25% increased fortify as a roll on the gear itself, but I haven't got one of those right now. But that's definitely an upgrade that you should do. You also get 15% increased effect of fortify from your AMI through Essence of Horrors. I need to reforge the prefixes on this until I get something good, but this is what I've got so far. Aside from everything else, you want to get element immunity on your chest, helm, gloves and boots to get 100%. I also have it on my amulet, but I don't need that anymore. I could replace this with sort of anything. I think transmogrification of life, or whatever that one is probably best to give myself a bit more life, a bit more damage. In terms of belt, maximum life and reses, I tried Soul Tether, but I don't think it's amazing anymore. I think a life res belt is probably just as good, preferably a Stygian, so you get access to a Murderous, or any Igil. Murderous is best because you get fizz damage to axe attacks as well. Rings, life crafted, life catalyst, sorry, Vermilion rings, one normal one, one Warlord one for the vulnerability roll. Your axe is just high PDPS. This one's I think around 750 or 780, something like that. But I used a 500 PDPS one all the way to Awaken of 4, then upgraded, so it doesn't matter too much. Your damage will feel kind of low until you get a bigger axe, but there's not a big rush. In terms of links, you want to go with Impale, Connect Brutality, Melee Fizz, Vaal Ground Slam, Close Combat, and Pulverize. And then you also want to use Seismic Cry, Enduring Cry, Intimidating Cry, and Second Wind connected to all of those, and your movement skill connected to that. I've got a Smoke Mine, but feel free to use any that you feel comfortable with. I have a Portal Gem here, but you can basically, in this setup I've got Lancing Steel, Dread Banner, Blood and Sand, Ancestral War Chief. You can drop this portal and add multiple totems to that Ancestral War Chief, but personally I like the convenience of having a Portal Gem, so I've done it like that. In boots I've got my main, Flesh and Stone, Pride, and Enlighten. You only need an Enlighten level 2 in order to cap everything. Mana can feel kind of awkward in this build, so especially if you have this much reserved. So getting minus total mana cost on your rings and your amulet is a good idea. It makes everything free apart from Ground Slam, but it only costs 3 mana, so it might as well be free anyway. Let's talk about the tree a little bit. So you grab this big life cluster here. This is pretty normal stuff, some Warcry nodes here, and I believe I have one more over here. Is this a Warcry one? No, that's the new Vanquisher one. Then you get some damage, you get the Fortify nodes, you get damage nodes of your axes here, another damage node, and I think one more damage node there, and then some Impale chance. We do scale some, because I've grabbed Crystal Skin with my oils, I actually do have quite high reses, and I've only got minus 25 kill stretch. Preferably, I'd like to have that positive. I'm getting some from my boots implicit with the new blessed boot space, and some from my belt. And I think I've got one more roll somewhere, but it's not. You really do kind of want to be positive. Minus 25 isn't ideal, but it's not the end of the world. So the strengths of this build are, well, one, it's incredibly tanky. You know, we've got a huge amount of fortify effect scaling, Vaal molten shell with a large amount of armor, and the damage is pretty good. I would estimate somewhere like 5 to 10 mil. It's not consistent damage all the time because you do have to wait for your exerts to be up, and then you can do a lot of damage. But it's quite a good amount of damage for how tanky you are. Downsides are it is a bit of a piano build, so you have all these flasks. You have not only every button on your hotbar being an active skill that you need to use, but you also have 3 more in your secondary hotbar that you need to use as well. I'd recommend binding these to maybe mouse buttons, so you don't have to hit 2 buttons to activate it. You can just hit 1. I'll do a quick map just to show you what the build looks like. Yeah, I've cleared all content with this build. I'm currently on let's see, Awakener 9, you know, I've killed Awakener 9 with this guy. Not really any problems. So how this build plays is you want to just pop Blood Rage at the start of the map. And then you just sort of walk through, War Cry when you need to, and then when you've impaled something, you can activate Call of Steel, which is what I'm doing there. And it'll sort of clear everything after you've hit it. So the clear is deceptively fast in this build. You would think a slam skill was quite slow, but not at all. You sort of just hit the pack and move on. And another really strong aspect of this build is ultimatums are incredibly easy. Because of how much AoE you have, you can just sort of run this circle, slam, pop your Vaal ground slam, keep your enduring cry up. There's quite a few buttons to press, but it's very much like a rhythm game after a certain point. Max life on a crystal belt, not ideal. This is a T15 Awakening level 9 map, so this is high HP monsters and they're sort of just getting melted here. Alternatives to this build, I've seen some people play Berserker. You get extra War Cry scaling and you get a lot of leech, so there's benefits there. Champion I think would be more tanky, but definitely would have less damage. But personally, I like the fact that I'm able to immune and I scale a large amount of fortify, so I don't take much damage at all. This is kind of an awkward ultimatum because of this door here, otherwise my impales could reach through when I Call of Steel and just clear everything. A lot of people have been playing this build without Call of Steel. It's not necessary. You could get a good rare duel, but I think the amount of clear that Call of Steel gives you really does make it worth it, even if you have to press an extra button. See if I can find the boss quickly to show you what it looks like on a boss. Let's see, I think the boss is here. So it's Maven, it's a Maven boss, so it's not ideal, but so yeah, if you have any questions about the build, let me know. I league started with the build fairly fine. Didn't really count any problems till tier 10 maps where my damage felt low, but then upgraded to the 500 PDFS axe. I crafted most of this gear myself using Harvest, just reforges or Essence of Horroring the amulet, just buying the bases. The only things I actually bought were I bought these gloves and I bought this belt. Everything else was self-crafted. Actually, no, I bought this axe as well. But it's definitely an SSF viable build. These Calls of Steel drop pretty often. Sorry, Lord of Steels and the rapid expansion you can get as a quest reward. And my other jewel is just a Dex Life Leech jewel. The Leech isn't as important anymore after I've got the minus total mana cost crafts, but until then you definitely do need some sort of Leech on your gear. Anyway, thanks for watching.